Did I get a glimpse into the fourth dimension? Let's find out in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me, Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another experience video. Now this isn't a lucid dreaming experience, this isn't an astral projection experience, this is just a regular dream, but it's one of my most memorable dreams to date, and one of the dreams that just sticks with me and I'm probably never going to forget. So a bit of backstory. Around the time that I had this dream, I was very interested in astral projection, and I was very interested in particular in all these stories I'd heard of astral projection, of people actually believing they've left their bodies and seeing things that they shouldn't have been able to see if they were still in their body, or interacting with the real world and so on. And still to this day, I don't know what to make of all of that. I haven't had any experiences yet with astral projection that have led me to come to the conclusion that that stuff is real. So far, to me, I just know it's an interesting experience and something that appears to be separate from a regular lucid dream, but I don't know much more than that. But when I was, looking at all of those possibilities, I had to consider them as options, and I still do consider them as options. And so I was thinking, well, if you are actually able to leave your body and, see things out of body, then what are these, other planes as well that you visit during astral projection? What are these? Is there an actual astral plane? Is there an actual place that you can go when you leave your body? If this isn't all something that happens in your head, then where exactly does it happen? And I did something that I've been doing for quite some time now, which is I decided to ask for answers in a dream. This is something that I've done for quite a long time, and basically what I do is before bed, I basically just ask the question that I want an answer to. Lately a lot I've been using it for video ideas. I'll go to bed, and when I'm laying in bed about to go to sleep, I'll just say, I would like some inspiration for my next video tonight. And I'll just go to sleep with that in my mind, and I usually get some inspiration in the form of a dream. So in this case, the question I asked was something along the lines of, how does all of this work? Are there other planes? I want to know if there's more to this reality than what meets the eye. And I didn't know, whether I would get anything from that. So I went to sleep normally after that, and I ended up having the dream that I'm about to tell you guys about. So, first of all, I should say that this is just under 2 years ago. This was like in probably, I would say about June 2015, something like that. And, my memory of the dream is a bit blurry, so there are some details that might be missing and so on. But I'm going to give you the most important parts and basically describe the dream. So the first thing I remember about the dream is this hooded figure, basically like wearing dark robes, and he basically comes up to me and says, okay, I'm going to answer your question for you. And at the time I didn't know what he meant. I was like, what question? I'd completely forgotten that question I'd asked. And he takes me, he transports me to this giant football stadium, it appeared to be, some kind of stadium. And we're standing in the middle of it. It's completely empty, but you can see all the seats on all sides. We're standing right in the middle. And when we're standing there, he goes, look at this place around you. He tells me to look at it and take it all in. So I take it all in. And he goes, this is your three-dimensional universe. This is what you see every day. And so I'm like, okay, fair enough. What are you going to show me? And he does this thing where he points at the ground with his finger. And he just slides his finger slightly across. And basically a duplicate version of the entire stadium and world we're in just slides across. And so there's now two, and one is overlaying the other one. And I'm like, what the hell? What's going on here? So I can see this, one version of the world overlaying this other version of the world, and they look identical. And at this point he explains what he's done, and he tells me that he's showing me a parallel world of some kind, and that these two worlds coexist constantly. Then he tells me that as a three-dimensional being, I am incapable of seeing these worlds. He tells me that for a four-dimensional being like himself, all of the three-dimensional worlds are visible simultaneously. And then he does the thing with his finger again, and another world pops out. He does it again, and then 5 or 10 pop out, and I can just see all of these worlds overlaying. And there's this lattice of these very bright green dots connecting them all. It's almost like a giant graph or web or matrix of some kind that is connecting everything, all of these different realities. And he just moves his arm out, and millions of these parallel realities just spread out in either direction. And he tells me that the three-dimensional reality that I'm used to is just one of an infinite number of these realities. And then he explains how these realities actually work. He tells me that if you take, say, the reality that you're looking at in the middle, the one that we were basically in, that the nearest realities to it on this four-dimensional scale were the ones that were closest to it in behaviour. So for example, if you took the very next reality to one of them, if you took the very next reality to it, there might only be a single atom different in the entire universe there. As you go further along and further away from the original reality, more and more differs between them. And eventually you get out so far that the entirety of the universe in this new reality is nothing alike the one that you started with. Now he then goes on to explain that despite the fact that we as three-dimensional beings can't actually see these other realities, we are constantly actually moving through them. We don't just move through our own reality, we actually go side to side occasionally and slip into other ones. And he says that, typically this goes completely unnoticed because we are unable to see the transition between one to another, and the changes that happen are so minuscule that you will never ever really encounter them unless you just happen to wander off particularly far in one direction. And since you're unable to see yourself, moving in four-dimensional space, you can only ever feel like you're in one reality. You don't know that you've moved between them. And he then went on to explain that this is why a lot of weird occurrences, unexplained occurrences happen. Like, for example, someone running into a ghost or an entity of some kind, or someone appearing to walk into a town and be in a different time period, only to leave the town and come back and it be completely different. He said that we're constantly meandering through 4D space and we end up getting into little accidents like this all the time. We just don't realise why it's happening because we cannot see it from that fourth dimension. And so as I gazed upon this lattice of different realities and all the vibrant green dots that were connecting them all in this weird pattern, I kind of was in awe. I was looking at all of this, and the thing is, it was a very weird experience because normally, for me at least, when I encounter characters in a dream, they're very, very artificial, robotic. They don't really ever say anything with much sense, and they're kind of a bit messed up. But this character was explaining things to me very eloquently, and in such a way that when I woke up, I was like, what the hell? That was a bit of an interesting dream, that was very unusual. And he explained that these realities, these 3D realities that we experience, could basically be thought of as timelines. So when you step into another reality, it's basically stepping into another timeline. But in the fourth dimension, there is no such thing as time, because you can just wander, you can just take a few steps and be 1,000 years back in the past or 1,000,000 years in the future. All of it exists simultaneously in the fourth dimension, and you can just wander through it as you please if you're capable of being there. Now, of course, this is just a dream, so maybe this was just an elaborate fantasy that my mind conjured up while I was asleep. Or maybe there is something more to it. I honestly don't know what to make of it. It was one of the most fascinating dreams I've ever had, but I really, really liked the ideas that came out of it. And honestly, while I do believe it was just a dream character in my head that told me all of this, and I wasn't visited by some being or given some special information or whatever, I actually really like the ideas, and I really like this way of viewing reality, that there is perhaps another dimension that is outside of all of this time, and where every timeline, every possibility already exists. And if, and this is a huge if of course, if this is actually based in reality in some way, then this could explain things like astral projection and so on, if they do involve some kind of travels elsewhere. Because, if there is this place where all of time has already happened and there are all these multiple timelines and that would explain a lot of the weird occurrences with astral projection, like how you sometimes end up in like a version of your house where everything is identical except like one picture on the wall has changed. Now, I am a skeptical person, so I, once again, based on the fact that this was in a dream, I don't really take anything from it and put any faith in what I experienced there. But I am open-minded enough that I like the idea that originated from it. It is kind of a nice idea that the universe could function like this. And I'm open to the possibility that perhaps it does. But I'd love to know whether you've had any dreams like this. Did you get any dreams that seem to give you answers to things like this before? Have you ever just had a kind of inspiration out of the blue in one of your dreams like this? And what do you make of them? Do you think that you're getting real answers from somewhere? Do you think it's just an elaborate thing conjured up by your brain? Is there more to it, or is there not? I don't know, and I want to know your thoughts. And what do you think about this story as well? Do you think there's any possible truth to this or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave them in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you aren't already, remember to subscribe up there to watch more. And if you want to keep watching, check out the video that's linked on screen. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.